This is our review of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, and this is Megan and Becca.
Hey.
We can get right into it.
Yeah.
I want to hear your ratings first, actually,
Okay.
because I'm
Well,
like I don't know. This was a interesting one.
definitely interesting. I am torn. I'm still like digesting everything. I finished it yesterday night, and I know this book has, and like I'm finally allowing myself to like look at TikToks and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of people are torn on it. So overall, I was not impressed. I
Mm.
this took me a while to get through because I honestly could not get into it. So I'm giving it a 3.5. And
Okay.
spice 2.5.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that and then we can get into it. I want to hear your
Mm-hmm.
ratings as well.
Yeah, I am not too far off. I was gonna give it a 3.5, but I gave it a 4 instead, just because of the um kind of like the ending saved it for me, I would say.
Hmm.
um and I gave it a 2 in spice, just because I feel like there wasn't much.
Hmm.
And what we did get with the one, it was good, but I don't think it really did anything for spice. It was just kind of there, like it was almost like an afterthought.
I think like right, I think it was a default because that's what she's known for and that's what she provided in Fourth Wing and
Mm-hmm.
Iron Flame and she's just like my readers demand a scene, so I must provide. But
Mm-hmm.
otherwise like I get I guess now we might be diving into like the meat and potatoes of the book, but I get it like Xaden didn't trust himself to lose control.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, dude, you could have given us some hand or mouth stuff, like.
Yeah, I kind of felt like it. I don't know, like I feel like it was fine the way it was in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, but for this it was just like I kind of wouldn't hate it if it was just a fantasy book. Because she kind of like, it felt like at some points the spice, the smut was just kind of like shoved down your throat, for like a better term.
Right, because I feel like she just kind of had
Yeah,
to.
like it was forced, and like you said, like that's what the readers want. But I personally feel like a little flirting is fine, and like a kiss here and there. I think it would have made more sense to me if, like, because he did, like you said, he didn't want to lose control, he didn't want to hurt her. If that was the main funny enough, like if that was the main driver to getting cured, pretty much, like he wants to be with her, like that would have been like an abstinence thing. I could have
Mm,
been fine with that, I
mm-hmm.
think.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping around. I have so many thoughts on this that
No,
like
you're
I
fine.
just cannot be contained.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely think speaking of like her like answering her fans' calls, like I she had to have been reading TikTok and Instagram and Goodreads comments because there were so many little. I feel like Riddick was
Mm-hmm.
literally used as an answer to bad reviews on Goodreads. Like he was
Oh.
like, "Oh, you guys fight like an old married couple. Oh, the communication. I get it. Violet doesn't trust Xaden. Xaden doesn't trust Violet."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she's literally just copying and pasting Goodreads
I
comments.
didn't
Like
even think about that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I think I
Let
did say
me.
that, didn't I, in my review of Iron Flame? Like, their communication was so bad, it was like
The
dealing with like
right.
middle
It was
schoolers.
right, and I think that was our big takeaway from Iron Flame was that it was the trust, the communication that made it feel like a more of a young adult book
Yeah.
rather than um like some like they're supposed to be in their early 20s,
Hmm.
and it was repetitive, it was annoying, and Riddick being the comedic relief that he is shedded light on that and made jokes, but I was like, dude, you're literally copying and pasting comments, like
Yeah.
hate comments, and I'm like, that it's lazy in my
Yeah.
mind. I'm sorry, I'm hating.
No,
I'm
it's.
sorry, Rebecca, I'm hating.
I get it though. I feel like this was. I want to say this was a carbon copy of like another example of that the fans and the fanatics are so bad. Like you can love this book, but when you're a diehard fan, to where if you don't get your way, like, that is the problem. Because this happened with the Third Crescent City. People didn't get what they wanted because they had bingo boards and they had so many theories, but they were not accepting that the theories might not come true. So when they didn't get what they wanted, they shit on the book.
And like the fans definitely can influence
Yes.
what does and doesn't happen because obviously that's who you're selling to.
I straight up think that this like, don't get me wrong, I did like this book, the second halfway through to the end, but I really do feel like she was catering to, like, I feel like there could have been a first script out there that wasn't received well.
Yeah. Oh, I found my comment. So I actually wrote a notes app because my thoughts could not be contained on tabbies. I have this under the heading, anyone else thought? She definitely reads her Goodreads comments because Riddick and Ree saying they bicker like a married couple and have secrets between them, question mark, question mark. Why are you copying and pasting?
Yeah. No, I get it.
And like what you're saying, the first half of the book was so I'm sorry. I'm hating again. A dislike for me was especially the first half of the book. Did you feel I felt that I was purposefully being confused? And
Yeah.
I put, is she purposefully making us confused? She introduces things as if we're supposed to know them. What is citrine? Who or what is Llewellyn? Because she refers to that as a
As a
person
person and a
in
place.
Basagath and a place.
Yep.
I said, is she purposefully misleading us for the next book for it to come back, or is this just bad writing?
I honestly, so, because apparently there was a typo, or not a typo, but what people thought was a typo in Iron Flame about Liam, that apparently his second signet was revealed in Iron Flame before he died. Or, sorry, in Fourth Wing before he died. Apparently it was revealed in this book that his second signet was ice. Because all the rebellion or relic children have second signets. But a lot of people thought in Fourth Wing that was a typo, the way that she like wrote it. So I'm wondering if this is the same thing, that she's, like you said, trying to throw us off the track of something, because that was very, very confusing.
Right. And like with books like these that there are multi-book series and things from the first book come back, I'm hesitant to say that, like you said, like she's trying to throw us off the trail, but it was, to me, like it was so absolutely confusing that's why I honestly put this book down. And I think I told you I was like I didn't want to read it because I
Yeah.
was so absolutely confused. I was quite literally rereading chapters,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel like rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, but
No, yeah.
I was googling things because I was like, did I like just lose a chunk of my memory?
Mm-hmm. That's how I felt too with like a lot of the characters. What was her name? Aura Bellhaven? Whatever her name was.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the
Who
one.
is she?
Yeah, exactly. The one critique I had that I told my coworker, like when we both weren't done with it, I told her, I was like, the one thing that I have so far is that she's introducing characters that I have no clue who they are, and she's introducing them as if we've met them before and I'm supposed to remember.
Right. And
That's
then
why I didn't feel bad when she died, because I'm like, I don't even know who this is.
right, and she's the one who stepped up. Is she the same one who stepped up to Dane in
Yeah, because
the
she was a fire wielder.
fire? You're right. And then she ended up burning.
Mm-hmm.
The other professor who the fuck is Felix?
I don't know who that is.
Felix this, Felix that. I don't know who you are, bro.
Was he from the first two books? I genuinely don't remember. I have to look it up. I honestly, thank God you brought it up, because I was so confused.
There is a list of people. I don't know who they are. Aura was on there. This might. I don't know who Quinn was. I literally.
I
Had to look
remember
it up.
Quinn.
I was like,
Quinn.
she got 2 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
Also, Jax. Who was Jax?
Again, like 2 seconds of screen time. I remember them from the other books, because in this book, Heaton was in Iron Flame a lot, and they only got introduced once in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find 19 characters from Onyx Storm you might not remember. Or Bellhaven's number one.
She number one?
She
Okay,
is
that makes
number
sense.
one.
There you go.
But again, like, she was seen briefly. Carolyn Ashton, again.
Thank you. That's it. I was like, her name begins with a
Yeah.
C.
Panchek, I could disagree on that. He was talked about a bunch.
I remember he was mean, right? He's the
Yeah. Llewellyn.
professor.
Llewellyn, yeah. That was another one that's confusing.
Which is also a region, I guess.
House of Llewellyn, yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah. Captain Grady, I don't remember that one. This is another one. Drake, Catriana's cousin. He was like a big character
Drake
in this
is
book,
new,
but
I
I did
thought.
not remember.
Yeah, I
He's
thought
mentioned
he was new.
once.
I thought that he just like randomly appeared.
He was apparently mentioned once in a scenario in Iron Flame, so not even really mentioned. So that's the thing, is that she introduced these
Wow,
characters.
I never caught it.
Yeah, and didn't even give us like a little spark note.
A recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like at least at least one sentence. Like Drake, Kat's cousin. At least give me that. Give me something. Throw me a bone.
Yeah, because my coworker was like, "Oh, what do you think of her cousin?" And I was like, "Who?" And she's like, "Oh, Drake."
Who?
I was like, "I didn't even put that together." Felix only pops up a few times throughout Onyx Storm, but more present in Iron Flame, leading figure in the Revolution, and one of 6 members of the Assembly in Aradia. Again, I don't remember that. I really don't remember that.
No idea. So I guess he must be on the council with Zayden? Question mark?
Yeah.
No idea. I don't know what's happening.
Thinks. Well, no, because he.
I mean, we don't have to dig too much into this because, like, it's just the confusion. That was a major, and I have a dislikes column, and it's quite long. There are many points on it. I was just so confused.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that could have been
And, like,
elaborated a little bit more. Go on, though. What else is on your list? Your con list. Let's hear it.
I have a theory, and this ties into a technical dislike.
Okay.
I kind of it's a like and a dislike. So she was mentioning the gods a lot,
Yeah.
like Dune, Amari being the name of the continent and all that. But I felt like it was also being shoved down our throats. Like, thank Dune, this happened, and thank Amari, that happened, and I'm like, okay, she's trying to make a point here, and I don't know if I'm just, again, confused where I'm not getting the point, or if she's setting up a layup for next book. So I don't know what you thought about that. Like, maybe it's just I'm reading too much into it. And of course, now we know, like, Violet's dedication, and also I called it first book with her gray hair, the Venom, her dedication halfway through. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like that it was just over and over and over about the gods. I'm like, am I missing something?
Yeah, I feel like they didn't talk about it that much in the other 2 books. So it
Right?
was.
And then all of a sudden it's.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like out of nowhere. And yeah, I kind of do like. There's only certain points, I hate circling back to ACOTAR. So sometimes I hate circling back to it so much, because I know there's so many people that hate it. But she wrote the book so properly and so, like, perfect, in my opinion, like, the way she wrote them. Because, like, in ACOTAR, when they say thank the mother, that's one person that you can assume is God. That's their God, right? So I understand that different cultures have more than one God, but they bring in the Amari, Dune, Zelna.
I can't even.
Zilna or something like that. And then there was another one too. And it just felt like I understand the purpose of the
being
gods.
A dead horse.
It was, yeah, because it was just, it made you a little confused, because it was like, oh, thank Dune, thank Amari. It's like, well, then who are you thanking? Because in religion, you're thanking either one god, or you're thanking a god like per circumstance, but it also wasn't clear what god is what. Like what god is in charge of kind of like what, you know what I mean? Like if she had a compendium in the back that was like, oh, Amari, the goddess of blank, Dune, the god of blank, like I think it would have made more sense.
I liked in the front, like the dragon bonding. That was definitely helpful. But right, I would have liked the gods as well because what book is it? Is it Hurricane Wars where they have everything in the back, or is that
Yeah.
Serpents in the Wings of Night? There's also a glossary.
That too. Yeah, they both have one.
Like there's just so much. There's so much, right? And it's been like
yeah.
5 years.
It would have been helpful.
I need help.
Yeah, it would have been helpful for sure because I do read those things because sometimes I get a little confused. So that would have been helpful. And then also like I don't know, I rated this a 4, but I'm shitting on it as well, but like her names of characters sometimes, like she has Sloane Mayari and then goddess Amari. So when you use the same one in both words in the same sentence, it is so confusing. It's like, oh, wait, what? Like, especially when with dyslexia, like I read my letters backwards. So it's like you're putting the two words that are technically the same in the same sentence. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
yeah, same letters.
I don't know.
I'm skipping again.
You're good.
Speaking of names, so you know on the beginning of the chapter at the top, where they have little journal excerpts and stuff. Did you notice? And maybe again, this is just something I missed because I am utterly confused with this book. That her dad was referred to as Asher Daxton and then Asher Sorengale.
I think this was the first time they brought it up. Like I think they wanted you confused
to notice that, right? And I was like, I guess that's maybe breadcrumbs leading to the whole grandmother thing with her dedication and Mira and Brennan being left at her house. Like, but that also confused me, like the names. I'm like, I cannot keep track of these 40 odd characters, and you switch up the name on me. Because like I was reading, and like I think she introduces when she's at what's it called, the Helion, I think, that one aisle.
Yeah,
it says Asher Daxton. I was like, okay, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think.
And then it's interchangeable, and I was like, what is happening?
I am in the wiki right now. I'm assuming that. I mean, again, this is me assuming because there's no. Nothing was ever said. Like,
there's no information.
Apparently, from what I'm assuming is that the men take the women's last name, unless there was a reason that he took the Sorengale last name, because that's generally not
like,
how it's done.
She doesn't give us.
Yeah, exactly. There's no.
Right, but she doesn't give us any information to think one way or the other. So I'm like, again, is this like something that she wants to do purposefully? But I'm just upset because I am Confucian.
Because it would have been like okay if like the one passage said what you read, and then the next passage said, in Aradia the men take their wives' last names as tradition. Like, and then you could have pieced it together. But the fact that
right, just again a single sentence to tie up all these loose ends, but like we don't get that.
Yeah, the same thing with like, I don't know, I think she just, and that's the good thing that Sarah J. Maas did, was that like in each book she didn't have to like, there are people that like you would forget right after, like same thing in Crescent City, like you would kind of forget like who is who. But she had a good way of like wrapping it up again in the next book. Like she would kind of reintroduce characters without saying it. And like again, I tabbed this part, but Xaden says Gamlin, you're next. And in my head I was like, who the fuck is Gamlin? And then it was
Who's
like
Gamlin?
And then it was like Riddick ends up Yeah, it's just Riddick. That's just his last name. But it's like, did we even know that?
Right.
Did we only see that
And that's
once?
right, and that's another point too, because at one point they say Matthias, and I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole other cadet. Who is this? And it
Yeah.
ends up being Ree.
Yeah.
And I end up putting the pieces together because I'm like, who is commanding
Yeah.
right now? Like, how dare they? And I was like, oh, it's Ree.
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah. I feel like it was
Okay.
just. Yeah. I feel like it was just she didn't maybe understand that, like, okay, my readers probably won't remember and not gonna reread. Like, it shouldn't be that, like, difficult. Like, it should be a little bit
Mm-hmm.
easier of just,
Like,
like, reintroducing slightly.
right. But
Um,
I'm sorry, I have started so many topics. I want to
no,
ask some of your opinions, or questions, theories, what's going on in your head.
you're fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of different theories and thoughts. I did tab some things, but the things I did tab, it's like it got proved later on, so it's just like whatever. Uh, let's see. I didn't have many tabs actually this time, but I had a couple. Oh, and some of them were just like funny quips, I guess. Yeah, I didn't. Then she kind of like I
I
don't.
did have a lot of good funny moments.
Yeah, yeah, I had a lot of those. I did enjoy like that part of it. The one thing I kind
Hmm.
of like didn't really care for was the quest type. And as we're talking, I'm changing this to 3.5. I can't I can't
Okay.
I can't have this knowledge. And yeah.
Right now, as you're convincing yourself as
I
we're talking
am.
through
I
it.
am. Cuz I was going to do 3.5 and then I kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt, but now that like we talk through it, I'm like um it
I don't know if that mute is on purpose,
did I
Megan.
oh
Oh,
oh
you,
sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay.
You were like mid-sentence. I was like,
Sorry. Yeah, I was typing the 3.5 and I forgot that that mutes. So, oh my God,
That's
Sydney,
funny.
jeez. Okay. Anyway, yeah. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like thinking about it. Like, yes, I have to do a 3.5 because there were so many issues. I guess. Um, I did
Hmm.
like the funny quips and stuff, but the one thing I didn't really care for was like the quest style. Like they have their objective, but I feel like they were going on a quest. They were coming back to Bazgath. They were going on a quest. They were coming back to. It was just so back and forth, and then it was. I'm tired a little bit of the quest or trials trope. Like Hunger Games was the first one to pretty
Hmm.
much do it, and everybody is jumping on the coattails of it because it's just like the whole the premise of the island of Zanal or whatever with the gifts. The premise was good, but I really did feel like oh my God, this is like you said, beating a dead horse. It's just like I kind of expected something bad to happen because I'm like, yeah, we're doing a trials thing. Sorry. And it just felt like I don't know.
Hmm.
I didn't feel like anything was like with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. It was so new and so fresh and like
Hmm.
kind
Original.
of yeah original, one of its kind so far, and like paving the way to like dragon genre. I feel like so many more books have been written after Fourth Wing about dragons. I just like
Yeah, like she set the curve.
yeah, and I just felt like a part of this was stale. Um, like for example, I tabbed on chapter 47, the the part up top. A dragon determines its last flight and rider. And I tabbed that because I'm like, oh, fuck, because it's about Sawyer. I was like, oh, fuck, like, what's going to happen? Like, I was like, so, because I love Sawyer. I was like, so scared. I was like, oh, shit, like, what's going to happen? And nothing happened. And he just, like, learned how to fly again. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like, that wasn't, like, people were saying, like, they were, like, crying, and her niece read this and cried. And I'm like, I don't, like, I teared up a couple times,
How?
and the ending made me sad, but I was just like, I don't know how, I don't know. And then the same thing with, uh, yeah, the chapter 53, Asher returned today, God's help us if anyone finds out. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive him for what he's done to her. And then the chapter proceeded not to be about that. So, I, and then this Leothan, oh, that was the dragon, never mind, scratch that. But, I don't know, I just felt like, I don't know. It just felt like a lot and nothing at all, if that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely. Back what you were saying about the trials, like I never put it into words, but that's exactly how I feel. Because we had threshing, we had parapet, we had war games,
Which were their
we
own
had
thing.
wrestling. We've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a perfect point because the entire first half of the book, until they found their other Irids, that is when I started paying attention. Other than that,
Exactly.
I did not care. I did
Literally.
not care. And that's why it took me so long to read this. I was fighting. Like, when I tell you I was only reading a chapter a day during my lunch break because I was like, I had to force myself to continue.
Yeah.
And
That's why I
you
was
made a
jumping between
perfect
books, because I couldn't.
And also, it's hilarious because I also tabbed chapter 53 with the Asher thing today because I thought it was foreshadowing, and like
And it wasn't.
and
They
it
kind of
wasn't
just
like
told you what happened, but not really.
right. Like I had the same exact qualms, and like of course there's great things, and like I know Rebecca Yarros like is foreshadowing a lot, but like I feel like there's just so much hype about this book, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why I'm so salty.
I think so too. I think that's like what I said before. Like, people made this such a thing. There was so much hype, and like, you know, pre-orders are selling out. People were fighting each other for this book and like shit like that. And it's just like, I
A flop.
as a culture, as a society, we have to stop doing that. Like, people have to stop doing that, because it's just like, I understand that like they're using their platform to get content out there and get engagement, but it's like, this is how authors go under. Because I can tell you that if there wasn't that much hype on this, I would have enjoyed it more. I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yes.
I understand there's issues, but I would have enjoyed it more because I had so many thoughts around this, and not even theories, just like because of the hype. Like, oh, this is going to be great and blah, blah, blah. Like, and then it wasn't. It kind of just felt like a filler episode.
It truly did. The first half of the book really felt like a filler. Like, right, like they're just going, it's like a beach episode. Like, they literally were on the beach. Like,
Yeah.
and then they went to the peaceful, knowledgeable, I can't remember the name of that isle. And then they were talking, like, there was literally half a chapter where she was talking about the fucking birds. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care.
Oh, yeah, before Garrett ate the cake.
Yeah, and it got poisoned.
Which, like, I love that chat. That kept me engaged right there. When I read that, I was
Right.
like, oh shit, here we go.
A little
And
bit of
then it
action.
went down a little bit. I was like, oh my god. Because there was
Yeah, and,
no,
like,
the conflict with his mom was not,
was not really conflict.
but it wasn't
There's-
fixed. It wasn't,
No, it was just passive aggressive.
yeah, he was like, okay, we're leaving now because I just fucking poisoned them. It's like, oh, okay, but he just, like, killed your best friend. Like, for a moment.
I was like, right, I was expecting him to like connect with his little brothers and him like talk about his time with having to be in the shadows about leading the rebellion and what he had to go through with his father, and like I had this like theory that he's going to blow up at his mother, and his mother like reveals some secret, and then she's like, I'm so sorry, you like chocolate cake, and like that
Yeah.
that was it.
That drove me nuts.
I'm
That
like,
drove
where's
me
this-
fucking nuts.
Where's the childhood trauma?
Yeah.
Where is
No, I wanted to be
anything?
hurt, and I wasn't. I thought I was going to
Exactly.
relive trauma, and I didn't. I was like, oh,
I want the
okay.
abandonment issues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
No, go ahead.
and that was the last thing I'm gonna say is like so many scenes could have been written with more like emotion, and like you said, I feel like they were just written just to like get them done, and then we just moved on so quickly. But what were you gonna say?
So this is the one thing I didn't understand. So we can go into theories and stuff after this if we're ready for that, but the one thing I don't know if it's just me. Okay, I truly do not understand this. So she's fighting with the Theophany.
Wait, wait. I pronounced it as Stephanie, like you're saying Stephanie, but with a lisp.
Okay, Theophany. Okay,
Stephanie.
good, because I was probably fucking butchering it the whole time.
I literally wrote it in my notes app. I said Stephanie.
Theophany? I'll take that. So she was fighting her, right? And then at the end of 489, it says, Violet says, when push comes to shove, I'm not the best of us. She is. So I read that, okay? And I was going to work, I think. Yeah. It was before I was going to work, that day that I Snapchatted you guys. And I read that, and I paused, and I almost, like, started crying, because I'm like, oh my god, Rhiannon's gonna die. Because who is who in her mind, who is better, not better, but who is on equal terms, equal footing as her? Rhiannon. And then it goes to her chapter, and I almost shit a brick, because I was like, oh my god, they're gonna kill her off. This is it. Like, this is, because I thought Riddick was gonna go. I thought Sawyer was gonna go. Like, it's gonna be Rhiannon. She's gonna go back for her. She's gonna get justice. She's gonna save her best friend, right? No. She doesn't do that. And she doesn't die. And it's like, why did you give her her own chapter?
And honestly,
And then Imogen her own chapter.
they didn't do much, and that's one of my dislikes. There was no reason for that extra point of view.
There was no reason.
It didn't help whatsoever.
Imogen's, I have a theory about why. For hers, maybe. But, like, it went from Rhiannon to Violet, and then to Imogen. And then the top of Imogen's page, which I don't remember if this is even her last name, which I'm going to look it up because...
Well, Imogen's last name, we can look at the front of the book. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's Cardulo.
So, at the top, fuck you, my daughter and I will meet Malik with clean consciences. Will you and your daughters be able to say the same when they come for you? Last words of, I'm assuming, her father. But it was like...
Yeah, father and mother.
But it was like... Wait, let's see.
We don't know who
mother.
Drusilla is.
It was her mother. So that's what I see here is her mother. So, yeah, because Katrina was her older sister. So, but it's like... When I read that, I was like, oh, fuck. She's gonna go out. And then she didn't.
Katrina was Imogen's older sister?
Yeah.
This is so confusing. I kept mixing her up with Kat, who's Catronia.
With Kat, Catronia, yeah.
Oh
she's
my
from Tyrendel.
Yeah, she's a Griffin writer. Do you think, reading this now, I never caught that. Do you think that she says, will your daughters be able to say the same? The only person that we know that has two daughters
is Lillian.
Sorengale, is Lilith.
Lilith, yeah, Lilith.
And Imogen was a
rebel.
Is a rebel, yeah. I didn't put that together. But I also agree. Other than her finding, what's her name? Quinn, I think.
Quinn, yeah.
There was no reason for her chapter either, I think.
Well, yeah.
That's not true. I have a theory as well. I'm not sure if you noticed this when Garrick, when we saw his second signet and he was walking, she says something. So Garrick is picking up Imogen. She refuses to move. She's cradling Quinn's dead body. And he goes, all right. He moves quickly to the step beneath us, kicking something out of the way, gathering both of us into his arms. I'm like, I don't trust you, Rebecca. Kicking what out of the way? And I think that's why Imogen got her own chapter. Because then she comes back in the last chapter and says, I did what you told me to do. So I'm like, what happened in that space that Violet doesn't remember?
That's my theory, is that when she says, so she has her signet, right? Her first signet is getting in your mind. Or not getting in your mind. I think she can
memory
Memory
erase.
erasal. So her
And we
second
found her
signet is the
is the stone
rock.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a pretty much an earthbender.
Yeah.
So I think when she said, I did what you told me to do, and she erased her memory of Xaden.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because Violet says that she doesn't remember the ring,
Yep.
and I think it's because Bodhi doesn't want the crown. He says he doesn't want it, and Xaden knows he's turning. He also, where did the fucking term channel from the earth come? I feel like that wasn't in
I don't
Iron
remember
Flame
that
at
either.
all, and it
No.
just comes, and they say it every other fucking paragraph in here, and I'm like, what is she talking about? Anyway,
Yeah.
so now we understand they're pulling the magic from the earth and they do the desiccation, and he creates the Onyx storm, and he's super powerful. So I think what happened is they get married. She agrees to it all, and then Imogen erases her memory so that she has like plausible deniability because Atos, Dane's father, is out to get her.
Yeah.
And that way she is now the next heir or ruler of Tyrandor when Xaden turns. Also, who the fuck is Berwyn?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Also,
I'll be
I'm
clear. I don't know who that is.
also I'm not sure if you understand what happened during the first fight when they go to get Mira. Like Jack was there, but he wasn't. But there was the chest, but he was shot, but he wasn't. Like, is Jack dead? I am so confused.
Wait, what?
Okay,
Did I miss that?
was Jack even there? Maybe I'm confused. So like, they keep saying Xaden needs to bring his brother, and I thought that
Yeah,
was Bodhi,
that's.
but then that ends up being Berwyn. But then they have the chest that was in Iron Flame that supposedly can keep a venom in there. Do you remember that whole thing?
Okay. Now I'm remembering.
But I was like, I thought that was Jack, but they never say who's in the chest, and then they say someone gets shot. If you want to chat, I will find it because I was so confused about that. I was like, maybe Megan understood what happened because I reread it like 2 times and I still don't know.
I don't remember that. I mean,
I could just be going crazy.
let me see. Because it's his own. No, that's.
And I wish I wrote down the page number, but of course I didn't.
Let's
Yes, I put, who is Xaden's new brother? Is Jack dead? Was Baron a cadet at Bazagath? Did he have the traitor relic? Is he a maven? Is he a sage? Like, the entire last fight, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, so I know that. Fuck. I don't even know what page it's at.
That's before Rhiannon's point of view, at least. So maybe that'll help you.
Alright, yeah, here's.
And that's before Mira gets her throat sliced.
Okay.
Or maybe it's after. I actually don't.
I think it's after. Because.
She hasn't drained the field.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. This was pretty close together. It's. I know it's here because it was like. The one I'm looking for is where.
Okay.
No, go
Found
ahead.
it. Garrick dismounts, then walks to the Ribastand chest with slower steps than usual, pulls the key from his pocket. It only takes a few seconds for him to open the chest doors. There he is. Stephanie smiles, but I don't risk taking my eyes off her to examine how Jack is doing, especially not when Mira looks like she might pass out any second. Just one little matter of business to attend to, then we'll begin. Terrence says he's emaciated and wan, suspended in the air as the chest intends, and he appears sedated. I can show you through my eyes. Violet says, description is perfect, thank you. Both Jack and I are here, our end of the deal is fulfilled, so let Mira and Tiani go. And Stephanie says, that wasn't the deal. I said we let Drathus stand, not that your sister would live. First thing to learn about us is that we're careful with our words, and second, we also lie. She draws the blade across Mira's neck and slits her throat. So Jack is in that chest, that armoire thing that somehow suspends venom. And
They didn't. She didn't say how, right?
No, maybe I just thought that they killed Jack because Mira gets her throat sliced. But do they ever talk about Jack after that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So now that's just another loose thread.
I'm trying to find the fucking page where... Oh, wait.
But the reason they brought Jack is because she said, bring your brother,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought they meant Jack. Stephanie meant Jack.
So there's another... I need to find the page where Xaden's talking to Berwin.
It's toward the end.
Uh...
I think that might be in his point of view chapter. So that's page 320. That's where his chapter begins. Yeah, so...
Speaking
Or sorry,
to...
520. 520.
Okay, I'm right there. Okay. Okay, here it is. So this is... I don't know how plausible this is. Okay, so when you think of Xaden's brother, like, you're not thinking Venom. You're thinking Xaden's brother. You don't know that he has half children siblings. You think of Bodhi, right? Or the other two people you think of is Garrick or Liam, who is dead. That was his brother. He grew up with Liam. They were foster kids together. So in this part, it says, oh yeah, and how Panchek was a fucking traitor the whole time. Like, where did that come from? I was like, hello? He says, the two Venons standing guard ahead of me at the mouth of the canyon in the ridiculous robes aren't an issue. I'll have them desiccated, whatever, within heartbeats as soon as Guile can retain enough power. But the one who walks forward toward Panchek's cowering, treacherous ass, putting him between Guile and me, he's a problem. Not because he's more lethal, not even because he's supposed to be dead, but because I can't kill him. I could no more raise a blade to his throat than I could Violet. The bond between violence and me is the kind of magic that has no explanation. But then he says the bond between Berwin and me is the kind that should never exist. So it seems, and it says, and now that my sage has another sibling he can use against me, I'm screwed. It seems like the person that's walking towards him in Panchek is not Berwin. It's someone else. That's undisclosed. And like you know that Xaden would never ever hurt Liam. So if he was supposed to be dead and he turned Venom, he would still never hurt him.
Right,
but she already said he was dead. So I'm like,
right, and like also I forget his dragon's name, but his dragon died. He has to be dead for the dragon to die. The dragon wouldn't have died any other way. But back to this brother thing, I had two tabs that they're my confusion tabs. 522. Shadow drags Berwin from Sagail and knocks both him and my new brother unconscious.
Exactly.
So
like, who is that? Brother? Exactly. Who is this person?
523. Xaden's talking about Berwin. I'd kill him if I could. Fuck. I thought I had. I wonder how many initiates feel about this. Feel the same about their sage. At least one that I know of. But beyond the physical impossibility of it, he has something that I need. So you're right. There has to be one other person because he's saying one other person. Like, I thought I was going crazy, but I'm glad that you said that too. Because like I literally tabbed both of them. I'm like, who is this extra person?
Yeah. And if it was Jack, you would have said Jack.
But you're right though. I just assumed that Jack died. He's in that chest, which technically I don't think he can leave unless someone pulls him out. But like, she never specifically said that he died.
Yeah, no.
Like all hell broke loose after Stephanie slit Mira's throat because that's when the dragons started fighting the wyverns. That's when Brennan started healing her. Xaden like took off. Like they never spoke about Jack again.
Yeah, and this person that's, like, walking towards him that he can't kill, I mean, he would have said Jack if it was Jack.
Right, so, like, you think it's another rebel.
Yeah. I think it's someone he knows, and so it says on 522, Shadow brings Berwin from Sgail, and knocks both him and my new brother unconscious. Shadow brings quiet. So it's just like,
Hmm.
it,
Yeah, I have that tab too. Like that's my question slash foreshadowing tab. I'm like,
mm-hmm,
I don't know what's happening. And I don't know if I tabbed this, but he mentioned somewhere that he pulled Berwin out of the river at Bazagath,
yeah, I read that
which is
too.
where, if you remember, that's where Violet used to eavesdrop on them when she would
Mm-hmm,
sit in the
in
tree.
the
Like
tree.
that's where the rebels would all meet by the
Mm-hmm.
river. So I was like, okay, so Berwin had to have been a rebel with a relic, right? Question mark? I don't know. Who fucking
What
knows?
if like, what if once you're made venom, you get a new name?
That's a great, yeah.
You know, like
Mhm.
if you died in your other life and you were a wielder in your other life, and now you became something entirely different. Like, why would you keep the same name?
Yeah. And then that also brings us back to Thephany now because we knew that she was a high priestess
Mm-hmm.
and like there's just not enough about her. Like I don't understand. Again, this is back to the gods thing, like Violet being half dedicated and Stephanie being full dedicated and her being the balance to her mother. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm so lost.
The one thing that I can say about like the whole like, oh, come to the temple was Eric. I did not see that coming. How he had not just farsight, he had actual, not farsight. He didn't have like the momentary future sight. He had like total future sight. Like he could see everything
Yeah,
forever,
literally see the future.
which was crazy because I was like, oh fuck, I didn't even know that was an option. And also, what's with that kid getting shadows? Lynx? Who is that? Why do you get shadows? I thought they were rare. Do you remember that?
Sorry, I was muted for a sec. Yeah, but like they literally said earlier in the book that it is once a century that both a lightning
Yes.
wielder
I
and a
tabbed
shadow
that.
wielder
Yeah.
will be alive at the same time,
Mm
and then all of a sudden, not even right after the next fucking side quest,
hmm. Mm hmm.
Lynx somehow starts to show
Do you
what I can't
think.
remember.
Yeah, he was showing his shadows. Do you think that that
It's
happened because Zayden's losing his?
I think so. It's foreshadowing because Zayden says something along the lines that he's like Lynx is gonna like balance the scales once he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Which is interesting because who is that character?
You know what? Actually, it's I just saw his name in the front of the book because I remember thinking, who the fuck is Lynx?
Oh, yeah,
Lynx.
she did have the thing in the front. It says.
Avalyn, Baylor, and Lynx. First years with unmanifested signets.
Okay, so it's fine that they weren't really brought up because they're not their first years.
It's their first year, right?
Yeah.
But like back to Eric, like I kind of knew he was like playing behind the scenes, but like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, he's the king. I was like, of course he's like on diplomatic.
Yeah, I thought he was just
Uh,
super smart and super,
right.
you know.
And his brother couldn't be trusted, so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like he can't really fight, so he's, doing
The diplomatic
diplomacy
stuff,
things,
yeah.
right? And then next thing I know, he's writing fucking letters, like he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
Oh, literally, he's playing advanced fucking chess,
He's playing
and
4D
everyone's
chess.
everyone's playing fucking Uno.
They're playing the wrong fucking
Literally
game.
playing the wrong game at the wrong time on the wrong day.
Oh my god.
But one other thing too that like makes me think, so about his brother. So you get to, let's see, 5:25, where Violet wakes up, right, and she doesn't know what's going on. And then Darna says, "I won't let them burn you." And then they say, "Why would
Mm-hmm.
my brother burn me?" Um, and then he says, "Am I right? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where have you been?" Uh, it's here somewhere. Official numbers are 4 riders, the dragons, and 3 elders murdered in the valley of what we're estimating in the last few hours. And we still have 5 riders missing, 4 now. But after our display, we all know Rorson did this. I bet the other 3 are already dead. But then, so she's talking to Brandon. Imogen is there. and Dane, right? Garrick is
Is
missing.
I don't know if Dane is there. Maybe I missed it.
Maybe that's
I don't,
me. Okay, maybe that's just the three of them then. Okay, you're right.
yeah, I'm skimming right now. I think it's just Violet,
Imogen and
Mira.
Brennan.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Violet, Imogen, and Brennan. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't see Dane's name right now.
So, uh, Cardulo, I haven't seen him yesterday. Lieutenant Tavis among the missing. Garrick is missing. So then, Garrick is missing. We haven't heard from Riddick, Ree, Dane,
Bodhi.
Bodhi. Um, but then if you think about it, it says like I feel like the whole brother thing, we might be looking into it too hard. I feel like it could be Bodhi because that's his brother.
It
It's
must be, and
literally his
his
fucking
blood,
brother. But
his only blood.
I think that when he left Violet, or he didn't, well, when his dragon took him away, and he didn't want to leave her, he somehow manifested into Venom, trying to save her.
That's good because we don't know what he's a rebel and we don't know what his second signet is,
Exactly.
right?
No, we have not heard. Like, she asked him, she's like, "Oh, does everybody have that's a rebel have a second signet?" He's like, "What second signet?" Like, ha ha ha. Like, so he's the only one we don't know about. Um, and that's another plausible like case of like where he's like, I couldn't hold a blade to his throat as much as I couldn't hold it to Violet's. He could never kill Bodhi.
And I don't want to detract from what you're saying because that's really good, but you just said brother and and Darna is like, I won't let them burn you. And Violet's like, why would my brother burn me? She mentioned over and over and over how her father was like, only trust Mira. Why didn't her father say, trust Mira and Brennan? Oh, wait, no, Brennan was dead at the time. Never mind.
No, I don't think so. Brennan died before she went into the. Like, it wasn't too long. Like, when she crossed the parapet, her dad was only dead for, like, what, 3 years?
So Brennan
But
could have still.
Brennan died right before his dad died because his dad died of, like, a broken heart. Apparently.
Hmm. So you think that he wrote that thing before Brennan ever died?
I mean, it's possible.
Because it's weird that Andarna would say that, and also she was MIA for a while, and she was with the Irid. Like, what did she
What
learn?
did
You
she
know, they
learn? Yeah.
right. So like, it's weird that I just completely glanced over that. Why would Andarna say that? And she seems like maybe it's because she's an Irid. She seems like very in tune with Violet's emotions. So anyway, like Violet automatically being suspicious of Brennan. That just kind of like clued me into like why, you know, she was so upset that she didn't trust Mira when all her father said was trust Mira, trust Mira, trust Mira, but like her father never spoke about Brennan ever. So like why not?
Yeah, Brennan's been kind of. Ever since Iron Flame, it's been kind
And
of iffy.
right, and I get that he was dead, quote unquote, for a while, but he also just mysteriously appears to like heal her and then he's gone doing whatever else. And he's also like the college's strategist. But like what is his credentials? He's been dead for like 2 years.
Exactly. Like, he's apparently revered and, like everybody trusts him, but
If
why?
anything, Mir should be the strategist. She's literally the one who is fortifying the wards and knows where their strong and weak points are. Like, so why is Brennan? And she has the like she will literally she's like the best foot soldier as well. She's like one of the strongest. Brennan's just a healer. Like he's not on the front lines. Mir's on the front lines all the time. Why is he given all this power?
Exactly. For someone who's been dead for a couple years.
Right. They just welcome him back. They're like, "Oh, he came back from the dead. Hey, how you doing?"
Exactly. Like, yeah, you're in charge now.
Like no questions asked. And I know he's going by a fake name for a little bit, but they're just like, did no one notice that he looks like that dead guy from 2 years ago? No one
Yeah.
thought that was a little suspicious.
Huh. I don't know.
And
That one's kind of a loose end for me because it's like I don't trust him, but it's like he doesn't really have much. Uh, I don't know, much to go off of because he's only been doing the bare minimum basically.
right, and also thinking about it now, where Mira gets in Zayden's face, like Mira is not afraid of Zayden. Have you noticed, like anytime it's Zayden and Violet, like he'll always take a step back. He'll like let them argue. Like Mira would always step up and be like, "Don't talk to my sister that way," or like, "Hey, we gotta go." And like Brennan would always like give them the room, which I thought was not
Mm-hmm.
very like protective older brother of him.
Hmm. Yeah, that one's gonna be a wait
Like,
and see.
right, like I have five older brothers. Like if Ronnie was arguing with me, they would get in between.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just him not filling that role for so long. You know what I mean? That like it's more like his like an acquaintance rather than his sister.
That's true. And yeah, maybe because he was, and there's also like that trust thing. Like he was dead for 2 years and couldn't tell anyone, so like maybe they just don't trust him really.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
because
like,
they could
would
have
you
kept that
trust a
secret.
dead man? Yeah, like what?
Right, like he didn't trust his sisters enough to keep that secret.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
which is all plausible stories, theories.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a question for the next book. I think it's gonna start off where this takes place, and it's gonna. I think we're gonna see some true colors.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I think Imogen's gonna get a lot of heat for what she did,
Oh yeah.
even if she was told to do it. But she said what you asked me to. But who did though? Did she say it during the wedding? Did Zayden ask her like what you say you asked me to, but we didn't hear it.
Hmm. And
Um
also, there's no confirmation at that point because like you can't really trust Zayden anymore. You don't know his actions, like if he's like being like if that's his Ben inside talking, like as he pulls from the earth more and like he pulled so much to do the Onyx storm that you don't know if it's him talking. And obviously Violet doesn't know what the fuck's going on anymore. So
mhm.
like who knows what happened.
It will be
I guess
interesting.
Eric would know. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody knows, it's fucking Eric. Hello.
Yeah, depending on how he oh, also an I can't say this, an anistic,
Innis
but they kill those
Innistic, yeah.
the, anistic, but they kill those people on sight. So
Yeah, I think those are the ones I can
also
just Dreamwalkers. Yeah, Dreamwalkers.
dreamwalkers.
That
What's
was
up with that?
interesting. That was an interesting reveal, which I'm okay with. Um
Little anticlimactic, no?
it was, but I was so hung up on the oh, she could talk to the dead, that's why she was talking to Liam. Uh I think that was I don't know. I feel like the Dreamwalkers will take I feel like she'll be able to talk to Zayden in his dreams. And that's how she's going to
Mm-hmm.
communicate with him and bring him back.
Because someone, maybe it's Satan, I can't remember who says that it's one of the most powerful signets you can have.
Mhm. But
So she
nobody
definitely has to learn how to master it.
yeah, but
But
nobody has
nobody could know.
said like, oh, there's nobody said like, oh, here's a list of like what signets are out in the world. Like they didn't say,
Hmm.
you know.
Which is maybe one other thing that she's keeping on purpose.
Mhm. Um I'll say one more thing, one more theory or one more thing before we wrap it up. But I think, and I'm hoping, praying to God, that the next book they give us some Sloane and Dane romance. I was
You
for
felt some
it.
sparks there.
Yeah, I was fucking
I, li-
for it.
I liked that little spat that they had on the field.
Yeah.
Also, curious as to why there was no marks left on him that time.
What do you mean marks?
Did you catch that?
No.
So Sloane is a siphoner. So she
Yeah.
siphons their magic, their energy from them, and she's supposed to leave a burn or a mark. But Violet notices that Sloane touches the back of Dane's neck, and there's nothing, and she says that. She's like, oh,
Oh.
yeah. Let me try and find it
I
before we
didn't
end here.
even put that together.
Oh, wow, I tabbed it. I found it so quick. Okay.
Mm.
I slip Eric's package into my flight jacket and watch as Brennan walks away. Weird. There's no mark at the back of his neck like he carries on his palm. There hadn't been one on Dane's wrist either.
Yeah, that's definitely a
Yep.
definitely a foreshadowing right there.
That's my foreshadowing / confusion tab.
Mm-hmm.
So just all these little things that like I totally forgot about to even like ask about that. But yeah, like they're I feel like they're gonna come back, but like I'm gonna forget by the time the next book comes.
Yeah, I feel like unfortunately with the next book we're gonna have to fucking reread this one because there was so much like at least in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame like there were so many memorable moments that you're like, oh my god, I can never forget this. But this one was like there was too much going on.
There wasn't a lot of moments. There's just so many. There's
Little
just so
tiny
many
moments.
little details, little breadcrumbs. I feel like she's just setting up. She's setting up a lot of plot points, but they're not there yet. We're not gonna get answers yet.
Yeah, no, not. I don't think we're gonna get anything until the next book. Like, obviously, but I don't think we're gonna get much of an answer until like the almost the end of next book. I would say.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Because all these things that we're talking about like change the tide of this war.
Mm-hmm.
Xaden, the brothers,
Oh yeah.
Violet's signet, Eric's signet, Sloane,
Yeah.
like what's going on with the gods.
I.
Like,
That's why I'm hoping this. Unfortunately, I'm hoping this is the filler episode, and we get back to
yeah, I
scheduled
think
programming.
I definitely think she's setting us up like you're right, like this was just setting us up for
Mm-hmm.
the big scene, big fight scene.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. I'll put my money on that.
I mean, that's the only answer because like there's no way she wrote Fourth Wing and Iron Flame like she did, and she wrote this. Like
Yeah.
it is not a coincidence. Like it's like that's like I think she's purposely misleading us and leaving like open-ended questions so that way she can just like throw us like give us some like truth bombs and like just she's just cliffhanging us, so that we're ready for the next book.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because also I love cliffhangers, so this was also a great cliffhanger, which like brought it from a 3 to a 3.5 for me. Like you said, the ending was really good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts, feelings, questions?
We just gotta wait for book number 4.
We just gotta hold on.
We just gotta hold on.
Oh, hold on. Okay. Alrighty. I'm sure that if we ever find more theories, we'll write them down and talk about them next time. But okay, if you're good to go, then I am.
Yep.
All right. This was Onyx Storm. And this was Megan and Becca. Bye bye.
See ya.
Thank you.